Hello and welcome, everyone. We'll wait another minute or so just so everyone can get settled in. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Keating Sherry. I serve as our Vice President of Outreach at CampusXR and joined by my esteemed colleague, Paige Han.
Hello.
And we really appreciate everyone taking the time out of their busy schedules to learn more about our webinar session, XR for Yield, where we'll provide you some case studies on how our current partners are succeeding using augmented reality in their outreach efforts.
Yeah, so just give everyone a few minutes to roll in and then we'll get started.
Please let us know where you're coming in from. Feel free to open up the chat there. See, we have some people from Oslo. Wow. Philadelphia. Go Philly. San Francisco. Quite the lineup today. Anyone coming in from Australia or New Zealand? Nah, not quite.
Big time difference there.
That's true. We would appreciate them staying up for such a session. Well, again, thanks for joining us. We're going to have Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to either send us a direct message or post them in the Q&A chat. So with that, Paige, I think we can get started on our first slide.
Perfect, yeah. Well, great. So we're here to talk today about the different benefits of XR, in particular for yield applications. Some of the benefits that we'll dive into a little bit later are sustainability, analytics, the ability to leave deeper impressions, and centralized content. So what does that mean, right? So sustainability, because most of what you're referencing, what you're directing the user to is all digital, it means you only have to print a much smaller item, whether that's a business card or a sticker. Rather than having to print a whole lookbook or a brochure, you're printing a single small piece of paper that still has all of the same content attached to it, but is not nearly the same in terms of printing, right? So you're doing a lot for the environment and for environmental pledges, and you're also saving a lot of money in that sense, right? Because you're printing far, far less. Um, in
And
terms
one thing there,
of,
we heard back from Central Michigan, one of our partners recently, who has an AR card, and they were talking about that students are really reluctant to take brochures, but something that's kind of sleek, cool, cutting edge, like an AR card, they were really eager to take it home.
yeah, absolutely. And that's part of leave deeper impressions, right? So it's far more impactful. There's actually studies that say that augmented reality creates 70% higher memory encoding in the brain than standard two-dimensional AR. So you legitimately remember it better. It leaves a stronger impact, and that's scientifically backed, right? It makes a much deeper impression, and it's something that sticks with people, especially if it's a sticker. um, and that's another benefit, right? Is you can, rather than having to give a glossy lookbook that can be heavy or awkward to carry around, you can make it something very small and something that students, prospective students or enrolled students are much more likely to hang on to. So something like a sticker, right? They can stick to a water bottle or a laptop, and it stays with them rather than something that ends up in a pile or in the trash even. Um, so that's one of the huge benefits, right? Is that ability to both you remember it better and it stays with you that way better, but also like physically it stays with you easier. It's not as cumbersome. Um, Another huge benefit is analytics, right? So all of the links that you're leading to, all of those click throughs, your social media, you can actually add UTM codes to all of those links, and you can actually track analytic data and see what students are and are not engaging with. You can get that data, whereas in a standard brochure, you don't really get to see that. You can also then another huge benefit, right, is because it's all digital, it's editable. So if you see that students are not engaging with this link, really, they're not interested in this particular button that you had thought they would be, you can actually swap that out. And it's all done on the digital end. It's usually just 1 to 2 business days, very simple, very easy to do, and no need to reprint anything. It's automatically updated. You can keep passing them out, no issue, because it's all all done on that digital end. Um, and that's a really great way to use those analytics and make use of the fact that that technology is digital. All right, moving right along, we want to talk about some case studies here, right? So how are people using this technology, and in particular for yield? So one perfect example is Dayton. They actually have two separate projects, and I'll talk about the next one in a little bit. This is one version. This is their entire brochure. You can see on that first GIF all of the different buttons, all of the different links that they're leading to, but all of that is activated through this sticker, right? So a student can take this sticker home with them, hang on to it, attach it to a water bottle, keep it, and right there from that QR code is their entire brochure at the tip of their fingers at any given time. We can see here some of the analytics on that, right? So it launched in about August of 2023, so around 6 months or so now. In that time, it's gained more than 342 individual users and has been viewed 370 times. So you can see people are coming back to this, they're engaging with it again, and it's creating quite an impact, right? In just 6 months, it's pretty high user numbers. Here's their second application. So this is a 3D mascot. So it's another sticker that students can take home with them. But when they scan this one, an actual 3D mascot of the Dayton Flyer pops out and does a dance and says hi. And then from there, again, you've got all of those same links and you can get analytic data on those. You can see the numbers are actually even higher here, 451 unique views and 395 unique users, 451 views. So even more people coming back and returning to this experience and using it again and again and again. Great. And you can even see here, right, these spikes in the graph usually correspond with when they're handing them out. So if you are consistent about using these assets at multiple different events and throughout recruiting cycles and using them in different ways, so say recruitment and then after that yield, and then after that you can use it for new admitted students days. We've had some schools use it as part of tours. If you keep using it, your numbers are just going to get higher and higher and higher. Another really exciting example is DuPage. This is Chappie, the DuPage mascot. You can see they did a really similar 3D mascot sticker, but also in addition to that, they actually took that same 3D content that we created for the sticker and used it on a holographic fan. These are really impactful in person. The video is very cool, but it doesn't even do that. That really doesn't do it justice. When you see these in person, they're very eye-catching, really engaging, really exciting, and they're great at, particularly for say recruitment, bringing students over to a booth at a college fair. But in terms of yield, right, have this at new admitted students days or information sessions. It becomes this really exciting personal experience for students. They can take photos with it, or they actually get to see the mascot in person. So it's really exciting and engaging in that way. You can see here, they focus more on those on the hologram side of things. So they weren't passing out a sticker as much, right? So that's why their numbers are a little lower. So it's really a game of how many people you're sharing this with, but still quite a few users in that time. Great. Here's another really exciting example. I'm partial to this one, right? So rather than a 3D mascot, which again, huge engagement numbers, it's actually a green screen person. So they filmed the assistant dean of this new program at Fairfield Dolan. And then she actually pops out of the card in person and in 3D to give an address and talk to new admitted students about the program and why they should matriculate and accept their admission. Really exciting use case there, because it's where schools maybe aren't as engaged with mascots or aren't as fond of mascots, or want to have maybe a little bit more of a professional or less kind of a little bit more of a professional vibe. This is a great way to still utilize that three-dimensional content in that sense. You can see here, right, those numbers show. This was used at one really specific event, but you can see that the numbers are, people are still going back to this. So 271 unique users, 293 individual total views. So people are coming back to this content. This is another really exciting example. This is actually a Christmas card done by University of San Diego. We've had a lot of schools use very similar versions of a card for admissions letters. So where this would be the back of your admissions letter, where you can then click into each of these videos and see them come to life, hear the students talk about their experience and different elements of U San Diego. Almost kind of like a Harry Potter card, right? Or a portrait in Harry Potter, where these pictures are actually coming to life, and you can talk to them. And then from then, just on the back side is your admissions letter. So you letting students know, like, hey, you've been admitted. And then on the back is this really exciting and engaging experience where you can utilize your existing video content to really promote student voices and help drive up engagement that way. This is a really popular use case, is actually using this multi-video experience as your admissions letter. This is a newer one, right? So this only launched in November of 2023. So this is only a couple of months old now, but you can see it already has some numbers that are competing with cards that have been around for 6 months or more. And you can see here, because it was specifically sent out as a Christmas card, right, it really spikes right around those holidays. So really exciting and engaging use case in that sense. And one more that's another really cool method of using this tech is you can actually show spaces, right? So this is a dorm room. So this is being shared with admitted students, prospective students, families, parents, donors even, and it's a way to kind of visualize and engage with a space. So in particular, this is a dorm, right? So this is huge for TASIS, which is a international school. So it's a way to show students all around the world what their dorm is going to look like, right? So really great for showcasing spaces that maybe you can't show off in a tour, like a dorm, or for example, lab spaces, right? So another way this technology could be used is to show off lab spaces, or even spaces that have not been built yet. So if you've got renderings of a space that is about to be built or created, you can build that out in 3D and show it off to engage prospective students, engage admitted students, and also to help fundraise for that building project, right? So tons of different ways to use this same one piece to promote excitement and engagement about spaces on your campus. And you can see in the GIF, you can actually click into different elements of the room and learn more. There's information there. There are links. So it's a really engaging piece in that way. As you can see, these numbers are very high. Again, this is only launched in November. So this is only, what, 2 or 3 months old now. But in that time, it has more than 500 total views. So it's been very, very impactful and a very powerful use case for TASIS. As you can see, those are some of our examples. We've got a lot of client testimonials talking about how useful these products are. And we'll actually are about to be launching a video series. We've got some in the works now of different interviews with clients, very short, only about 5 minutes or so. So a great way to kind of hear directly from clients how they're using the tech and how students are engaging with it. So we'll be releasing those soon, so be sure to keep an eye out for those. We've also got a white paper out, so if you want to take a look at that, learn more, you can do so here. And so those are some really exciting use cases and different ways that augmented reality is being used for yield. So now we have some time for questions.
Thanks, Paige, for that overview. And great to see the questions coming in. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. So the first question here is, what's the process for making updates to our augmented reality card once it's live? Obviously, that's really important because things like tuition and programs can change.
Yeah, absolutely. So usually I touched base on this a little earlier, right? But it's a very, very simple process. Especially if it's something like changing out a link, changing out a button, swapping around a video, usually just email your project manager, and Usually it's done in about 2 business days, so it's a very, very tight turnaround time, but it's literally as simple as just emailing and then it's done.
And what's great is if you're on the road traveling, you don't have to just toss all those brochures. Your AR card is really evergreen in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
Next
So I'm
question I
sure,
see is, oh, go on, pitch.
no, yeah. So I was just saying, I'm sure a lot of you guys have had experience, right, where you take all of the time and effort, you get everyone's approval, all of the different sign-offs that need to be signed off. It's finalized, you finally get it printed, the 100 boxes of it come in and get shipped to the office and get delivered, and then you find a typo on page 12, right? Or you get a new donor and the name of a department changes, right? So, and in that case, all of this stuff that you just got printed and just paid to get printed and shipped now has to get thrown away and made all over again, um, in a standard brochure, right? Whereas now, if you spot a typo or the name of a department needs to change or anything like that, it's as easy as an email, 2 business days done.
Right. Next question I see is, how is AR different slash makes more of an impact than 2D marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, right, like there's the main key things are the ability to gather analytics, and analytic information. So, you can track and see what students are and are not engaging with and actually alter it. So if you thought students would be really excited about learning about the athletics side of things, and you made sure that was one of your buttons on there, but you're seeing that students really aren't clicking on that as much, um, you can actually track that and see that that's what students are not engaging with. You can track those numbers and then change it around again digitally on the digital side of things in 1 or 2 days. um, Another huge benefit, right, is the impact it leaves. Much higher impression levels. Again, 70% higher memory encoding in the brain. You remember it better. It stays with you better because it's usually a much smaller piece of paper or a sticker or something like that. It is physically easier to bring with you and take with you after you are handed it. Um, so that's another huge benefit, right? And then again, if as the years go on and go by, you can always edit and update this content so you're not reprinting everything every year. So a lot of huge
Great
benefits
point.
in that way.
Excellent. Another question is, our enrollment team has limited bandwidth. How much time and energy is required to launch an augmented reality card?
Yeah, absolutely. So it depends on whether or not it's a 2D or a 3D experience. 3D does require a little bit more interaction, right, to make sure that we get it perfect and right. But say for a two-dimensional experience, something like a brochure, normally it's a form. We create a template form for you. You're able to download it and type directly into the PDF. And it's just, you just list what links you want, if there's any particular photos or video you want, send that back and we build it all out. What we've also done in the past, if even that is a little too much or you're not really sure, we can also just go to your website and pull content directly from there. And we've built full brochure experiences just by referencing your website. And then at that point, it's really just you kind of looking it over and making sure everything is as you like it, and just doing any potential edits. So it can be a very, very simple process.
Great. And Paige, is there any discernible difference between engagement that a 2D experience gets versus a 3D experience?
Yeah, absolutely. As we saw with Dayton, right? The biggest factor is in how much in the biggest factor in terms of engagement is in how much you're sharing it. So if you're using it in multiple different ways at multiple different events, that's what's going to boost your numbers the most. But we also find that three-dimensional, all those things equal, right? Three-dimensional content is much more engaging, and it's typically the difference between um, individual independent users and total number of views. That difference is greater, which means that significantly more students are coming back to it and viewing it multiple times, in with a three-dimensional experience, right? Because um, it's more impactful in that way. It's more exciting, more engaging. all of AR is very unique and exciting, but especially like
Mhm.
a three-dimensional experience is unlike the vast majority of marketing that they will have seen for colleges. And so it's a much more impactful use case in that sense.
Yeah, it really does have that wow factor, which is feedback we hear so often from our partner universities.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you then take that same three-dimensional content and add it to a holographic fan. So if you're at a yield event, right, a new admitted students event, and you've got this holographic fan with you to kind of show off your mascot or really iconic dorm buildings or a dean, things like that, right? If you've got this holographic fan that's so exciting and engaging in person, you can then send them home with that same exact experience attached to a sticker or a business card or anything like that. So that's a really helpful way to keep that engagement going as well.
Yeah, someone just inquired about learning more about the holographic fans. We'll share some examples after today's webinar. It's one of those things where it's much more impressive to see in person. A video a lot of times just doesn't do justice to it.
Mhm.
So if you ever come to conferences, we travel the whole circuit, so we always bring them with us, and typically gets a great response. Final chance for questions. Anything else? Well, it looks like we addressed all the Q&A. I want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us today. We hope you found the session to be valuable. And in terms of next steps from here, you can always reach out to us at contact@campusxr.org or go on our website, campusxr.org, to find more information. And we hope to partner with you soon.
Thanks so much,
Paige,
everyone.
any final thoughts?
No, just thank you all so much for coming and hope to be talking with you all soon.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.